Hello. This is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and you are watching an episode of the Rebound Coach Live. I'm so excited that you're here today. Thank you so much for coming, whether you are joining me here live on Facebook or you are watching the replay or you're catching this audio in some other form or fashion or you're on YouTube. Please comment. Let me know if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm curious to know who's watching these over there, and I'd love to hear your comments. So whether you are watching live in real time with me or you are watching a replay, please like this episode and share and comment. Let me know what is coming up for you, how this episode and these series of episodes serve you. So I would greatly appreciate that, letting me know what works and what kind of shows would you like to hear about. Okay, so all of that to say, hello, welcome, glad you're here. I'm Dallas Cohen, and you might be like, what is a rebound coach? Like, I don't even know what that is. That doesn't make any sense to me. So a life coach, I'm a life coach. Life coaches help people get unstuck. I have the sacred honor and privilege of serving high-achieving women of faith who have lived through betrayal, trauma, or abuse and would like to reclaim territory in their relationship with themselves. This is not the same as finding yourself. It is really intentional gaining territory where there was a breach, where maybe no one was ever paying attention to you in that area. You weren't paying attention to you. No one else was either. And it's time to reclaim that territory. So you might be like, how do you get into something like that? It came out of my own experience. I was raised by a good, godly household, parents. They were married. They loved God. They loved each other. We're married for a lifetime, actually. And a life like mine, when things kind of came to a head, didn't make a whole lot of sense. See, I was married for 10 years to a man who wanted me dead and almost had the chance to try it. He and his mistress had been plotting my murder for months by the time I found out about it back in 2019. And so that didn't make sense for a good Christian girl that was raised in a two-parent home with good moral values and was a virgin until I was married, and all the things they tell you to do. You dress modest, you abstain, you marry the man that God's supposed to have for you, right? At the same time, even though I had a very good upbringing, I would consider it, I was molested from the time I was 8 to the time I was 16. And that radically affects how you see yourself as a young person, how you see God in a household of faith. And for me, how I related to men and males. And so fast forward, when I met the man that I did marry and later divorce, there were plenty of red flags. Lots of people share their trauma story, their relationship trauma story, and they say there were no signs. I didn't see anything. And then all of a sudden, so there were signs, in my case, there were signs. There were reasons not to marry, right? But I'm a woman of faith, and I was then, I am now. I believed that God was with us. I believed that God's answer was yes. And because of that, I believed that whatever trouble would come, we'd be able to overcome it. We'd outlast it. We'd find our way. God would heal him. God would heal us. And it would be, whatever happily ever after looks like in the Christian fairy tale. So trouble did come, and it came right away and never quite left. And we got into what I call a cycle of coping and crisis. So it's where you're kind of barely making it. You're tolerating each other. You found a rhythm to get up and do your work and go to bed every day, and you're just kind of doing this barely making it dance. And then there's a crisis. In my case, there would be mental health episodes, or I would, more correctly put, mental illness episodes that would set our family back every time there was a mental health crisis in my home. And we kind of collect ourselves from the crisis and get back to that barely making it dance. And we did that for several years until things came to a head. He left, and I found out where he had gone. He'd gone to be with this particular person, and that person had been talking about my death and plotting it for some time. And so, you find out something like that, and like everything just kind of comes to a halt. You're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like your whole life, just like, oh my gosh. And I had to make some really important decisions at that time. I could allow the track I was on, the identity that my ex-husband had planned for me, and quite frankly, I had agreed to, tell me who I was allowed to become, what my hopes and aspirations were allowed to be, what I was allowed to pursue in life, how many days I had left on the planet. Or I could choose life. And so, through a divine set of events, the Most High God rescued me. I have no other explanation except that. The Most High God rescued me and my children, and we are living, breathing, thriving, more than surviving. We are growing and learning and changing and deconstructing and reconstructing. And just God has allowed us such a beautiful life. And I'm so very thankful to God. And out of all of that, I wrote my second book, and it's literally called I Choose Life. Rewrite your love story and change your legacy. I'm going to put it over here. Yes. Rewrite your love story and change your legacy. And it is my story. It doesn't start in adulthood. It starts in childhood, because so often, women find themselves in domestic violence relationships, toxic relationships, abusive relationships, and not just romantic relationships, but other kinds. And it doesn't normally start in adulthood. These situations, the heart condition it takes to say yes to abuse. And I know that sounds awful. That sounds really bad, but it's the case. So the heart conditions that set someone up to say yes to abuse don't start in adulthood. They start in childhood. So I talk about what those factors were for me, and I share the story. I share my story, and also help with insights. If you care about someone who's gone through betrayal, trauma, or abuse, you might be wondering, why in the world do they stay? Why do they stay? Why are they still there? Don't they know this is hurting them? They come to me and tell me it's hurting them, but they're still there. This gives some insight into why people stay. Not everyone, definitely not everyone, but for high achieving women of faith. So these are not just women who believe in God. These are women who are achievers. They're movers and shakers, and they're goers and growers, and they're smart, and they're accomplished, and they do great things. And you just wonder, how in the world does someone like that end up with someone like that? The answers are here. So you can find this book at thereboundcoach.com/book. That is thereboundcoach.com/book. You can get a physical copy like this one that I will sign and mail to you, or you can get one from Amazon and they will send one to you, or you can get an ebook. Okay. Either way, it will bless your soul. And so I suggest you get a copy. thereboundcoach.com/book. Grab you a copy. Okay. So today's episode of the Rebound Coach Live is overcoming burnout. Guys, have you ever been just really tired? Like really tired all the time? That had been my life for sure, and many others. We live in a culture of busy, and we really glorify busyness, and that's something that we kind of aspire to and try to fill our lives with. And even thoughts of like being tired is almost a flex. Like, how you doing? I'm tired. How you doing? I'm just I'm just tired. People say that kind of like, my name is Dallas. They just say that a lot. And so I want to talk about signs of burnout. How do you know? How do you know it's burnout and not something else, right? So I will read the signs to you, and then we'll talk a little bit about where they might come from. So this is from ada.com. Okay. And some of the signs of burnout are anxiety, headaches, lack of sleep. There it is. Lack of sleep, fatigue, an increasingly cynical outlook on life and work. I thought that was interesting. And this in particular is talking about burnout at work. But you can have burnout from ministry. You can have burnout from, home life and home responsibilities or your relationship, whatever it is. Increasingly cynical outlook on life and work. And I called that the grumbly. When I talk to my daughter, one of my daughters, I say this, it's the grumbly. You're doing something and then in your heart and in your head, it's that cynical voice. It's the grumbly. So more signs of burnout: reduced performance and productivity, anxiety, detachment, feeling listless, low mood, difficulty concentrating, lack of creativity, fatigue, negative attitudes towards one's coworkers or job, low commitment to the role, whatever your role is, loss of purpose, absenteeism, calling out sick or staying home, quickness to anger, job turnover, cynicism, emotional numbness, frustration. Physical symptoms of burnout may include exhaustion, generalized aches, so like just pain for no good reason, gastrointestinal disorders, hypertension, difficulty sleeping or disrupted sleep cycle, increased susceptibility to colds and flu, and muscle tension. Okay, so you might be like, that sounds like my entire life. To which I say, I understand. That sounds like every day. What do you mean that's burnout? That's like all the time, which is a bad, that's a bad sign. It can mean a lot of things, but typically when we think of burnout, we think of, oh man, I'm doing too much. I just need to stop doing so much, right? And then we start saying no to things sometimes. And that might be the cause and culprit. That might be what's going on with you. But there are a couple other things to think about in circumstances like this, okay? Maybe you're not doing too much, but maybe you're doing too much of the wrong things. So we talked about the value of being busy, the value we have in being busy. It gives us a false sense of importance. I'm important. My life is important because I have all of these things to do. So many people rely on me. The situation relies on me. I have to do this. If I don't do this, it doesn't get done, and this bad thing happens, right? So because of the self-importance that's tied to busyness, we can often fill our schedules and our lives with low value tasks to keep us busy. Or we have a reasonable amount of responsibilities for our schedule, but we will waste time and procrastinate to make sure there's pressure, make sure there's more stuff to do than time to do it. Or if we already feel like there's more stuff to do than time to do it, we continue to procrastinate and waste time to make that pressure just tighter and tighter and tighter. Okay. So we can put off what's hard to build pressure. We can beat ourselves up underneath. This is an unlooked at part of the cycle of stress and burnout. We're not looking at the inner talk that we do to ourselves. We can very well be a verbally abusive person to ourselves. When that inner critic is just so loud and saying mean things to you, like you're not doing. For me, this is something that my inner critic would do, and I catch it all the time. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough, and you're not doing it right. You're not doing enough. You're not doing it right. You're not doing enough. You're not doing it right. You're really not doing this right. Like whatever it is. And so hearing that all the time, if you heard that from someone, a parent or a sibling or a spouse or a child even, like, what would you say? You said that person is abusive. That person is verbally abusive. Like they're saying mean things to hurt me. When we say that to ourselves, what do we say? Oh, you're right. I'm not doing it right. I know I could always do more. Like, stop agreeing with your inner critic. Talking to myself, Dallas, stop agreeing with your inner critic, right? Cut it out. So what I've answered, you can answer your inner critic. Did you know that? You can actually respond, and your response doesn't have to be, oh, you're right. And sometimes you believe it, like in your heart. It wouldn't stick if you didn't, right? So let's say you believe your inner critic. In my case, my inner critic says, you're not doing enough. You're not doing this right. Okay. So what if I believe that? Okay. So how do I respond in a positive way to my inner critic if I believe her? Right. I would say in response, I'm getting better every time. Okay. Because the opposite of you're not doing this right would be to say, I'm doing it right. I'm doing it perfectly. I do it perfect every time. And that's not true, right? So saying the opposite of your negative statement sometimes doesn't ring true. And because of that, your mind rejects it, even subconsciously, that's not true. I definitely don't get it right perfect all the time, right? So that it doesn't work. You're not moving the needle. But if you respond and say, to, hey, you're not doing this right, you're not doing enough, I get better every time. It leaves room, like that statement could be true, and also I'm getting better every time. I'm getting better every time. Every time I do it, I'm getting better. I'm not saying it's right, I'm saying I'm getting better every time. That means my results will increase every time. It's getting better every time. And so that's one thing you can do to combat the inner voice. But check it. You won't know how to do that unless you know what's going on inside. That's step one, knowing what's going on inside. And so I want to give you 3 steps. And I was going to start with just one. I was going to be like, you just really need one. So I'm going to leave this one first for overcoming burnout. And if you do this one, I think the rest just comes. All right. So my number one thing, overcoming burnout. It doesn't start with like quitting any jobs or being mean to anybody. Plugging into your source. So I myself was going through this, and the Holy Spirit made sure I heard this message like 3 to 5 times. Plugging into the source. Who is the source? God is the source. And not in a have to sit with the coffee and the Bible and the devotional book and pretend like this is interesting. Not what I'm saying. It can be really as simple as pressing in, meditating on God for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Oh, my mind wandered. Oh, I fell asleep. You did it. You did it. And you get better every time. So you don't have to do it perfect. You don't have to do it like every time consistently. Just plug into God. And I've prayed because I know I want to meditate, right? Like I want to meditate on a consistent basis. And I've prayed like, God, help me stay awake. Serious. God, help me stay awake. Help me stay awake. Help me stay awake. So I don't wander off and fall asleep. And one day, I wasn't falling asleep, but my mind was just kind of wandering. I was like, Lord, I didn't do it right, did I? He's like, but you did it. Yes, I did it. I did it. It's done. I did it. Celebrate that. Celebrate the small things that you did do, and you're moving forward, and you're getting better every time. You're moving toward the goal. So step one, plug into source. Tell him like the old scripture. Have a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about your troubles. It wasn't a scripture. That's not a scripture. It's a song. It's an old church song. I don't know if any of y'all know that one, but just be like, here's what's on my mind. Here's what's making me worried. Here's why I'm procrastinating this task right here, because I'm overwhelmed by it, because I don't know how I'm going to solve this problem, because I don't know how I'm going to fix it. And I'm frustrated because of this, and this. Even journaling those things or speaking those things out loud, it brings clarity, and it allows space for the Holy Spirit to speak in. But as long as we are, and I'm speaking to myself when I say it, as long as we are overstimulating ourselves with media or stuff to do, right? There's always so much stuff to do. We don't sit and be still. And that is, it can be a place that leads to burnout. And it's just not a healthy way to live. So number one, plug into source. Number two, prioritize. Okay, so like I mentioned, we can fill our schedules, our days with low value tasks, things that don't help us get to where we want to go. They don't really align with, our vision for our lives. It's just something to do because it takes our mind off of whatever it is we're trying to avoid. Those things are not out for your best interest. So prioritize. And here's another thing. So if you get into this habit of distractify, right? Like you're like, I'm on my task, I'm doing my work, I'm doing my work, I'm doing my work, I'm doing my work. Hey, look at what's over there. I'm doing my work, I'm doing my work, I'm doing my work. It'd be really fun to do that over there. I think I should scroll TikTok for an hour. Whee! Okay. So instead of doing that, when the urge comes, and it will, okay? When the urge comes, instead of escaping from the life you have, do something that builds a life that you don't want to escape from, okay? Do one small, tiniest little thing that brings you toward a life you don't want to escape from. And that feels so much better than the escape that Distractify would do for you, that social media scrolling would do for you, that food would do for you, that whatever would do for you. The escape, it's momentary. But if you know that you made a step towards the life you want, you're like, oh man, I am making progress. And it feels so much better. So overcoming burnout, number one, plug into source. Number two, prioritize, okay, with your bonus tip of take a step towards the life you don't want to escape from when you feel like escaping. And number three, reach out for help. Reach out for help. And I would encourage you to, I'm learning in this season about being vulnerable in spaces I normally am not. And you might look at me and be like, Dallas, you just told me about your ex-husband trying to kill you. Like, what you mean vulnerable? I'm saying being vulnerable in new places. Those people, when you show your hand and say, I need support, I would like support, or this is who I really am, right? It's scary, and they may not be so great, but they might. And you won't know unless you try. And if they're awful, it wouldn't be the first time you've experienced awful. So you'll be okay, right? Asking for help is really important. Being vulnerable in safe places is really important. And so I have I have the honor of creating safe spaces for women to be vulnerable and to heal from betrayal, trauma, or abuse, from unsafe touch, from the many things that happen to a woman that bring her down. And one of the opportunities coming up very soon, in literally like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that. It's called A Day of Healing Safe Touch. And it is just that. It's a day for healing. It's a day for renewal. It's a women's event. And it is absolutely free. It's free. Like, you can't beat that at all. You can find out more information about it. It's in the Tampa Bay area. It is an in-person event on Saturday, February 11th, 2023, which is coming up very shortly. thereboundcoach.com/events. You can find all the information you need there. It is free, but you do need to register. Again, thereboundcoach.com/events. I'm excited because, like I said, people try to, I'm going to cut off this relationship. That's going to stop my burnout. I'm going to quit this job. That's going to stop my burnout. I'm going to say no to friends and family that are trying to spend time with me. That's going to help my burnout. None of those things necessarily help burnout, because our emotional state comes from an internal place. It doesn't come from out there. It comes from inside. And until we deal with under the surface issues, it's just going to stay where it is. And A Day of Healing Safe Touch is an opportunity to deal with those internal things. Not that everybody gets all the way fixed in a day, but I promise you, taking an effort to pour into yourself will definitely leave you better than if you hadn't. You've only got one life, and you won't get today back, and you won't get tomorrow back. If you stay burnt out, if you stay sucked dry, if you stay lonely, if you stay anxious, if you stay depressed, if you stay, closet suicidal, no one can do anything about that but you. And this is a free opportunity to come out of the shell, come out from underneath the burden that you're carrying, and be seen and be heard and be loved and be touched. I hope to see you there. Saturday, February 11th, 2023. It is in Odessa, Florida, which is in the Tampa Bay area. You can find out more about it at thereboundcoach.com/events. All right. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for watching the replay. Please let me know in the comments how this has blessed you, what resonated with you. Please share this with someone and invite them to A Day of Healing Safe Touch. Until next time, thanks so much and choose life.